Strong like truck and smart like tractor. Nothing wrong like a deer. I still have no idea what that means, but hey, welcome back to the show, guys. PC7 here. We are on Grazyland, and I'm about to take our little John Deere frog out here. Yeah, I don't know, did any of you guys ever hear that expression when you were younger? Although that's a dumb way to ask it, because quite frankly, you could have been younger yesterday. Does anybody remember that expression being fairly popular many years ago? Strong like truck, smart like tractor, nothing runs like a deer. I don't know. I don't know if that's something John Deere Company came up with, or if it was... I don't know. Anyway, here we are back on our poor dried up little farm. And I'm just about to fire a little of the old C herbicide on here. Now, I'm not going with the double this time because I know we've got more than the 3 days that are going to be required. The difference here is the last time we sprayed herbicide, we actually ended up cultivating afterwards because we hadn't had to go through the whole thing with slurry and plowing and cultivating and lime and all that. Now, so I don't think that running the double C is going to last long enough. In fact, I get a feeling the day we harvest is the day we're going to get the big weed infestation come back. So what I'm going to try and do here is help our moisture situation out a little bit, although I can see we're now up to 30%, and hopefully get our weeds under control for what becomes the rest of the actual harvest, because that would be kind of nice, don't you think? So... And the mod author of the soil mod was nice enough to once again step in and I guess address my concerns with the whole issue of getting that I was having with trying to get these fields to show a little moisture, and unintentionally I think I may have a little bit, and I'm really sorry for it, perhaps offended Decker a little bit, because he seemed just a little bit defensive in his post. And I really hope that, Bud, if you are watching, understand, I don't in any way mean to bring the mod down. Okay, if I get off on a little tirade about things, it's because soil management is something I was kind of required by my job to know better than pretty much anybody you're likely to ever run into, because I had to teach other people how it worked. Everything right from trying to save generation-old tomato crop fields down in Mexico, where basically they'd stripped the land of all the available humic acid and couldn't figure out for the life of them why nothing would grow. And we figured out a policy to get humus back into the soil. But I mean, I do have a background in this, and when things become counterintuitive, I suppose it gets my back up a bit. I respect what modders do. Like I said, my channel basically revolves around this game, and this game wouldn't last more than about a month after release if it wasn't for all the wonderful mods. And we all know it has always... excuse me, I still have a bit of a cold. Well, probably a big bit of a cold. But we know that it has always been someone other than Giants who has come along and added levels of realism to the game that didn't exist. And being a simulator by name, of course, that's kind of an important thing. You expect things to be somewhat realistic. And of course, you also have to understand there are limits to things like coding. You can understand that something should be a certain way. Whether you can actually get a machine to respond to that understanding is entirely another. I do understand that, I really do. But so no, anyway, Dexter first off advised me that I should perhaps read the part on the mod that explains to you that, well, it's not going to be exactly as in real life, and I do understand that. I think my biggest issue with the whole thing is if someone who's actually been trained to understand, like, I'm sure the average person that sits down with Farm Sim 15 and tries out the soil mod, they're probably not even sure what NPK is, and they read the mod and they go, okay, to get this letter to equal that, I do this, and that's fine. And I hear from a lot of you how frustrated you are. I mean, even to the point where some of you go, well, no, I'm doing Grazyland version 1 because the soil mod makes me nuts. And you know what? I'll bet to real farmers it makes them nuts too, trying to keep their soil exactly where it's going to give you the optimal growth. I mean, here we got 3-4 days, we get a crop. That's nothing. When a farmer bets his entire year on what happens with that harvester at the end of the day, 90% yield isn't good enough. 80% it make you want to slit your wrists. So, I'm sure that they find soil management to be quite a hassle too. But so it turned out that the reason that our close to 500,000 liters of liquid being sprayed on the field didn't actually raise the moisture levels, but allowed it to decrease by 2 points, or 2%, sorry, moisture doesn't work on points, it works on percentage, was because we plowed the slurry in. And, well, here's the deal. Real life, plowing will cause moisture loss to soil, because you're exposing hereto unexposed soil to the air, which is going to allow evaporation, and you're going to lose a large amount of water. I agree with that. That is physics. That is the way the world works. Right? No problem. However, there's quite a difference between plowing a dry field and plowing a field that's just had slurry sprayed on it. Because basically you're plowing moisture into the soil. Alright, you may be losing some from what you expose, but you're actually plowing more into the soil than you're losing. So, although I agree that plowing, i.e., let's say you were going to put lime on and then plow it, oh yeah, baby, you're going to be losing moisture like you wouldn't believe. In fact, you would be well advised to go and irrigate your fields now that you're done with the lime. And you'll probably find commonly that's what farmers will do. Once they put lime on their fields, they're going to go and irrigate them. But, yeah, I don't know. At any rate, bottom line with it is, of course, is I'm waiting for Steve C. to finish Glen Malure, and then we are going to go there. And if that's too long in coming, quite frankly, I think we are probably going to find ourselves another map. And at this point, probably one that does not include the soil mod. Because I'm thinking we're going to be doing Field 5. Now, I mean, yeah, we could go and do 6 other fields. But I'm thinking we're going to be doing Field 5 or 6 more times before we can guarantee that what we do is going to produce perfect numbers. In real life, not only is it possible to produce perfect numbers, it's possible to exceed them. Like you can go beyond optimal limits. You can introduce better than optimal conditions. So, that's, I guess, probably a big issue with the soil mod is all you're doing is continuously fighting to come up to just what you would get at optimal. Like, there's no way to exceed it. So you're always at, less than 100% and struggling to be at 100%. Yeah, I don't want to do that forever on this same field. Not really. But we'll see how it goes. And if you happen to be watching this episode, Dexter, if you have any questions about it, I am not an absolute expert. I'm sure you will find people that know at least as much about it as I do. But if there's anything you want to ask about, feel free, bud. PM me, because like I said, I've, do have a background in soil management. I have a fairly intimate understanding of plants, their nutrient, their pH level, how the pH level affects nutrient uptake, how soil temperature affects nutrient uptake and pH level, etc., etc. So, hey man, if there are anything you want to know, like just sort of those sort of things, feel free. If you just as soon I went on and tried something without this mod so that other people could figure out, I'm more than willing to do that too. Because as I've always said, I have an incredible respect for the modders. Maybe a lot of things I have done and will do and can do and can't do, but making mods for FS15, I can tell you outright, is not something I at this time am capable of doing. So I have great respect for everybody that is. And like I said, hey, just like the rest of the world, I'd have probably packed this game back into the box 2 or 3 months ago and gone, well, that was fun. If all there was is what Giants gave us out of the box. But we don't expect that, do we? Not with this game. I think that's what keeps us coming back. Because, how long was it after they just released, FS15? I believe it was released on October 31st in Canada. I believe by November 2nd, there were 4 maps on the first site that I looked at. 4 completely modded maps. And I don't know how many other mods. I just pick maps because that's got to be by far the most time-consuming mod to deal with, right? But, within just a couple of days. So we all know the modding community is what makes this game live and what makes it really cool to play, Because, let's face it, the in-game sprayer will do exactly what this frog is doing right now, It'll unfold this big fancy rail behind it, and then it'll spray fertilizer on your field, But, is it gonna do it and look funny and green? No. Yeah. How can you not respect the amount of work that went into doing something like this? And this is just a little green dot in the middle of an entirely modded map as he drifts way off to the wrong side. Because let's face it, guys, if Farming Sim 15 was even 10% closer to real life in how it functioned and how it worked, most of us would spend half an hour with the game and then go, well, that's broken, and quit. Because everything would just be an absolute, it would take you 20 minutes to figure out how to start the tractor the first time. You know what I mean? Actually get it in gear and go, right? Because it ain't your Honda, right? The same thing. Do you honestly think that someone with absolutely no experience could climb in a $500,000 combine harvester and just and proceed to harvest a field? No, like I said, you'd probably spend your first hour going, how do I start this? So we can't expect too much realism, And when it comes to the mods, again. But I suppose the argument there would be that if the entire purpose of the mod is to add more realism, you gotta really be careful. These trees are not even. You might sneak past one of them and only catch the tip on the next one. And like I said, the hitbox on this particular sprayer, unlike the in-game one, oh yeah, it goes right out to the very last rivet on the end of this pole, let me tell you. So. Kind of amazes me though, speaking of realism being added in mod form. After the amazing job that was done, with the whole MR mod, right, and what it actually added to FS13, it made the game outright amazing. Just outright amazing. Things actually worked at least somewhat like they should. You know? And I find it just astounding that when Giants released 2015, now we all know, those of us that play this, that vehicles don't handle like they did in 2013, and they don't pull loads, and they don't do a lot of things like they did in 2013. They, oddly enough, almost, and that's the key part, seem to have components in them from the MR mod. You know, I mean, in so much as you require certain horsepower to run certain things, you know, you can't just hop on this little 70 horsepower tractor and, you know, haul 75,000 liters of silage off to the local power plant with it. No, it don't happen, right? So, things like that, and yet at the same token, the really difficult stuff, the vehicle handling and all of that the MR mod did brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. Oh man, Giants just miffed it. You know, I mean, it's like most of the tractors and stuff that we're dealing with, it's like you were driving on ice. Yeah, it's funny. But anyway, okay, so we have our first. This is it's just a horrible bloody day out here. I can't see anything. You know, I can't even see where the road into the farm is. Oh, there we go. Oh, of course. Finally, and just in time for traffic. Oh yeah, it's the conspiracy of the unmarked white van. Da 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 da. Sneak in here, they'll never know. So yeah, for those of you that are rather frustrated by the soil mod and have perhaps gone back to an older version of the map, you know, you should understand that the author of this mod is really making an effort at this, and the complexity of what he's done, even to this point, is just astounding. You know, to have been able to have introduced these sort of things, it's great. You know, I'm just blown away. And it does add an entire depth, but it should not take over the game either, which it honestly, at this point it is. Like I said, if we are going to try and get perfect onto even the only field we're mucking with, I can see us doing field 5 4 or 5 more times. So, that's kind of scary, because I'd kind of like to do some other stuff. And we don't have the choice of ignoring it. Maybe that's one thing. Hey Dexter, listen buddy, if all else fails, can you put a switch this off for 2 days button or something, so we can just sort of go play around and be inane for a while? Probably wouldn't do any of us any good. Look at the weeds in here, man. Old dead weeds, brand new shiny ones. Boo, yeah. Ew, these weeds have little weird black alien things floating above them. That's kind of strange, eh? They're everywhere. Huh, weird. Black alien floaties. Look at them all. That's... Huh. Well, there's certainly some kind of graphical glitch going on there. Huh. Oh well. Anyway, so we have, hopefully helped out the situation here, because we were starting to get weeds on this field. We should probably go into field 5 and have a look at where we currently sit. So, yeah. Alright, so we're at 29, and there's not yet signs of infestation. Alright. Okay. And we have active herbicide C. Alright, what I'm going to do here, guys, is get things ticking on. I'm lose an entire day again. And we'll advance to the next day, and then I'll let you guys know just what the numbers are. And hopefully we'll see an improvement. Now, what are we looking at for weather? Alright, I'm assuming now that this means fog, these weird little diddly dots, because that's basically what it's been. But then we're looking at, of course, now here again, all right, you'll see the maximum temperatures, all right, have not been exceeding 22 degrees. And why do I mention 22 degrees? Because according to the instructions on the soil mod, if your noontime temperature exceeds 22 degrees, or is 22 degrees or over, you will lose moisture. And you can see we're not coming anywhere close to 22. Our fully 2 sunny days in a row is only going to produce 16. So you can tell we're not in that sort of a streak, and we certainly weren't before that. We've had nothing but cloud for days now. So, I don't know. I still think the whole moisture thing could use a bit of work, man. But, again, I know, I understand you can't make it totally realistic. But, yeah, I'm afraid that may be what's going to end up killing it in the end, as it becomes too frustrating because you can't apply any sort of reality to it. Ah, yeah, this field's just mucked, eh? Oh, alright, look at that. Once the fog effect is gone, those weird alien floaties, oh no, there we go, we still got some. That's just strange, man. Oh well. Anyway, I think, guys, we are going to see how the day progresses here. And I will let you know tomorrow. Well, tomorrow, game time tomorrow anyway, and likely tomorrow in real life as well, how we fared with that little exercise. Because we should get the first little sprout by tomorrow morning. Like tonight's growth cycle should sprout the crops that we planted. And we'll see how it goes from there. So, till then, yeah. Once again, if I offended you at all, Dexter, with my last video about being so frustrated with it, or perhaps in this time by sort of trying to compare what we need in real life as to what would make a mod realistic without having to struggle of being exactly as it is in real life, I apologize, buddy. I said I got nothing but the greatest respect for you and everybody else that does mods. So, yeah. But, what a funny little farm. It's too bad we weren't into silviculture, actually, because it looks like we're getting better at growing trees than we are at growing grains. What can you do? Alright, I'm going to leave her here, guys. Till next time, this has been Species 7 from Grazyland, which is rapidly becoming Crazyland. Take care of each other, folks. Ciao for now.